All right, how y'all doing today? Thought I'd try something a little different today. Something I don't normally get to. Usually come into the race a little bit later. But this is the actual moment of the start of the race. Now, unlike yesterday, which was unlike any other stage, this is a mass start with a neutral section. So the riders ride along behind what you will shortly see as a vehicle, the race director, who is who I'm drawing right now. They ride along behind that car for usually to get out of a downtown area safely. And then at the designated point at the start of the race, he will pull the depart flag out from the little holster area on the back of the car, and just as they hit the 0 kilometer point of the stage, he will pull out the flag, wave it, and you can see that he's on the radio. He will announce the start of the race, the time it started, how many kilometers they're going to go, and whatever other little information they deem important. And then this car will be in front of the race for the rest of the race. Sort of the lead vehicle, although actually there's quite a few other vehicles out in front. I think I've talked earlier about the publicity caravan that precedes the race, giving out goodies and whipping up the crowd and all that kind of stuff. I have a friend who was at a couple of stages, at the Alpe d'Huez stage. I'd be real interested to hear what that's like, to see it all. Someday I'm going to get there. So the lead vehicle is this one here, and then behind, lined up all ready to go, are the entire peloton, at least the around 150 riders that are still left in the tour. Might be a few less now. Fortunately, Sagan, who crashed on yesterday's stage, was able to continue. He is on his way to tying the number of green jerseys won by a single racer. It would be sad that he had crashed out on the stage. And as the commentators kept saying, and I have no reason to doubt that this is true, that it's the first time anybody can think of Sagan having actually crashed, period. He's such an excellent bike handler. Probably attests to just how exhausted the racers are that someone like Sagan would crash. And it was such a hard stage and a lot of descents yesterday and climbs. So the exhaustion factor, the fans. There was some snapshots of fans, and fan might not be the right word here, trying to grab Geraint Thomas as he sprinted to the line. Team Sky is not well loved in the French, and the particular person was wearing a AG2R jersey. I'm not saying he was somebody affiliated with the team, just a fan of those riders. So today's stage is going to be a flat stage, a stage for the sprinters. We'll see if Sagan sprints today. He doesn't need to. So we're titling this piece, we'll call it Getting Started. So there's the line work done. Now, excuse me, move into color. I'm not going to show you this, but I always shape the brush with my mouth, get a nice fine point, and then immediately knock the point off. It's almost like a starting ritual. But it does help, and actually when you're done for the day, it's good to shape your brush. And the saliva really helps. I know it's a little odd, but that kind of functions as an adhesive to hold the brush in shape and protect it and keep it formed. If you've ever left a brush like in a water cup overnight or something, it gets that mushed, splayed out shape. It's really hard to get that thing back the way it belongs. So it just helps to shape the brush so that it functions well for you the next day. Just realized I should do a little bit of the credentials lanyard right here in yellow. That was a little too much. That's all right. The nice thing about watercolor, you can keep moving it. All right, now we'll move to flesh tones. So this image is one you frequently don't see on coverage, just like on a stage like today, waiting to, seeing this from the very moment. This is going to be 171 kilometers, and at this point we are not officially at 1 kilometer yet, or I guess actually since he's waving the flag we are at the 0 kilometer point. I think I said that already. But here's the peloton all lined up ready to start. And what racers will do is those who are thinking of going into the breakaway will get right up behind the car, sometimes right kissing the bumper, or actually even more conveniently, just to one side of the fender or another. And as Proudhon waves the flag and announces the start of the race, the car speeds up. And of course it can accelerate a whole lot faster than the bikes can. So it speeds out of the way, and the race is on, and frequently it's truly on. Because I paint these things live, I have no idea if there's going to be an attack right off the bat. I would suspect as much. There almost always is. But that's usually when the first break tries to go. And occasionally, and only occasionally, nobody contests. And that first little group goes, and there'll be some teammates of the GC guys sitting up front, and they'll look and they'll go, guess what, guys? We can let them go. Nobody there to worry about. And so the break gets established right off the bat. Other days, it takes a while for the break to get formed, because either it's the wrong combination, or guys who wanted to be in there didn't get in. So you get this sort of churn almost at the front, with people trying to get in and chasing that down, and the next group going and chasing that down, and this sort of repetitive. And then finally, what's perceived to be the right combination, or people that really wanted to be there just don't have the legs to keep attacking or whatever, but then the break gets formed. And then racing is on. Painting glass is always entertaining. You're painting something that isn't there, so to speak. So it's the reflections. In this case, they're still in the trees. So we have some shadows of trees. My dog is walking back and forth. Hope he's not bothering you. He's got some skin allergy or something going on. Or he's just anxious. Oh, I hear him going upstairs now. So they're in this beautiful wooded section. They're still in the Pyrenees region, but today it's going to be a flat sprinter stage. So you can see I've sort of laid in all of this lower area, laid in essence the subject matter of the piece. Now LCL, this right here, is Lyon Credit Liaise. They've been sponsors of the tour for many, many years. They're the ones who sponsor the yellow jersey. So all the yellow jerseys have their logo on it. And then each other jersey has its own sponsor. The green jersey of Sagan is sponsored by Skoda, car manufacturer. I believe they are a Slavic region. I always thought they were Russian, but now I'm not 100% sure of that. So, somebody want to tell me in the comments? Love to know. I'm sure I could research it. I've actually had some conversations with the company's UK people about doing this on site, the tour of Britain amongst others. That is my ultimate goal here, is to be doing what I'm doing for you all today, following the race around. As of yet, I haven't been able to make it happen. Anybody watching got connections? Love to help. So, now we're just laying in the foliage behind the racers. And you notice that I'm doing this little sort of rhythmic, I hate to use the word scrubbing, but that's almost what I'm doing. And building the colors, building layers. It's the thing with translucency, is that as you lay color over top of the other color, you get this a combination, not just the color you're laying down, but a variation of the color that's already there, and you create this texture that replicates the leaves of the trees. One way to look at trees, I always had trouble painting them as a kid. If you think of them as a solid object, a shape that has a top and a bottom, almost one way to think of them almost as like a what's the word? I had it in my head, like cotton candy almost. And that they have a fluffy, pillowy texture, then you can see them as a united whole rather than trying to paint the individual leaves. As an expression, you can't see the forest for the trees. Well, sometimes you can't see the tree for the leaves, so it helps to simplify it into a solid shape. And really, a lot of painting is about simplification. So now I'm just trying to get a nice blue-green for the more distant mountains, which you also want to do a little more water, less opaque. That's another way to convey distance. The closer something is, the sharper it is. The further away it is, the less crisp the object is, and the less intense the color is. So you have a chromatic perspective, a drawn perspective, and a saturation of color perspective, all of which help communicate distance. Like I said, sometimes I talk about the race, sometimes I talk about watercolor, sometimes I talk about art making, sometimes I'm not even altogether sure what I'm talking about. So closing in here, just getting some of the dark. So again, with the darks picking up that green, coming back here, getting some of my purple, alizarin crimson, and then separating that so I can get a more intense and less intense, or redder and greener coloration. Excuse me. Now just a little bit of sienna into that same dark for these couple of branches you can see. Maybe just a little highlight there. Maybe some more indication of branches, just some little drag of the brush. Alright, and then the sky is left and this piece is done. Again, all of this artwork is available for purchase, both today's painting, all of the paintings from today, this one included. They will be on my blog at theartofcycling.blogspot.com, and that will provide a direct link through to my website where you can purchase a piece securely. Did mail off a couple today. In fact, yesterday's painting is on its way to Ireland, which is exciting to me. And then these are all Richson Art watercolors, St. Petersburg, Yarka, St. Petersburg. I'll provide that link as well. So there's today's painting. Hope you enjoyed watching.